Hello, everybody. It is 7:46 p.m. on Wednesday, March 9th, 2016. You are listening to, or watching, or both, episode 21 of Oh No Anime, the podcast. My name is Momoka.
No, it's not.
It's Mark.
I'm Patrick.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We changed up the format a little bit, didn't we?
We got a bit of new stuff.
Yeah. So
not even our final form.
Here's the deal. I'm gonna take this off first of all.
Please put it on tomorrow. There we go.
All right.
Perfect.
So here's the deal. We are kind of combining the podcast and the YouTubes for today.
We can't promise every episode will be like this.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Eventually, this is proof of concept.
Yeah. Every episode from now on will definitely not be like this. It will be like something. But yeah, no, we're changing up the format a little bit just for this episode for both reasons of wanting to test out some equipment and also laziness.
Yeah.
And also, to be fair, a lot of news has happened in the past 2 weeks. A lot more than usually happens
It's been a doozy.
when we do these podcasts. Usually we cover like 4, 5, 6, 7 stories, something like that. This week we're going to have a lot more, and that is all we are going to be having on this episode.
We've tried not to count.
I think we will probably, honestly though, I'm thinking right now, and I think it's about 2 weeks until the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the next episode is pretty much going to be only discussion because it's going to be our
wrap up, probably.
our Oh No Anime Awards for the winter 2016 season. So look forward to that. But before you do, I will say if you're listening to this on our podcast page, obviously it's only audio, very high quality HD audio. But if you want to see our beautiful faces and you want to see some accompanying visuals to this wonderful audio podcast, then you can follow the link in the description to our YouTube page. And that is where you can watch this same episode with video.
Yeah. You won't be missing too much if it's just audio. It's really just some pictures to go with.
It's accentuating our amazing content.
Now, before we get into this, you might have noticed, I hope you noticed, the first song was a Miku song, which is completely different from a normal opening that's today because today is 3/9, which is Miku. So
Happy
Miku Day.
Happy Miku Day, everybody. Yeah, we used to do holidays until we probably forgot or something like that. I don't know, but this is definitely a very
it just wasn't worth it.
Very worthy holiday to be celebrating. So happy Miku Day to all of you Miku Vocaloid, whatever have you fans out there.
You're out there.
So shall we jump in?
Yeah.
There's nothing left to do but jump in. So let's do it. Our first story tonight, I feel very news desky sitting in this setup.
It's going to take some getting used to. We have a big TV behind the camera that you guys can't see that's showing just the image in a gray box.
I feel very professional right now, even though we're sitting in a living room.
Yeah, and our webcam is stacked on all of my ridiculous art books.
So our first story, and probably the biggest story over the past 2 weeks, is the fact that Netflix announced that it will be streaming its first ever original anime.
Yeah, I like that they put a Netflix original in front of everything.
Yeah, but this is actually a Netflix original.
An actual original, yeah. They're funding it. They're on the committee doing the whole
anime itself is being animated by Production IG, which, of course, you will have heard in the marketing. They are the studio that brought you Ghost in the Shell and Psycho-Pass, which is true. They've also brought you shows like, Haikyuu and a lot of other shit.
Yeah,
and they're a pretty good studio. So this should be interesting. No release date as of yet. It is called Perfect Bones.
I think they would have gotten Bones to do it. That's a missed opportunity.
I think that would have been too on the nose for them.
They'll learn.
But Kazuto Nakazawa, the director of the 12-episode series, actually was quoted recently kind of giving a description of the basis of the show. So I'm going to read that. It's set in the future where scientists have tried to breed the perfect human in hopes of keeping peace in the universe. After nearly achieving their goal through 3 children, the scientists send their new humans for further training where they are kidnapped by an evil organization set on using their powers to implement their own concept of a new world order.
This might be me thinking a little bit too much, but that almost sounds a little like Under the Dog.
It does, and hopefully will be better than I fear Under the Dog will be.
I think we got update number 79 on Under the Dog, and we still haven't gotten a single update of substance.
It's so sad.
I believed in them.
So the director Nakazawa, which is about the only staff that we know of this show right now, also directed the animated segment in Kill Bill Volume 1, which is probably where most Americans would know his work. He also was the character designer on Samurai Champloo, Terror in Resonance, El Hazard, and the upcoming soccer anime, Days.
That's by Bones too, right?
No, that is a MAPPA show.
MAPPA, that's right. God, how weird is that? I'm looking forward to it, though.
Yeah. And this kind of comes on the heels of a couple months ago, the CEO of Netflix, Reed Hastings, actually said in an interview at something called the Dealbrook Conference. I don't really know what that is. In November, that he was, quote, hopeful that Netflix will make a great anime show. I did not know that it meant that they actually wanted to make an anime instead of, just put their name on a bunch of licensed stuff.
Including Precure.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I think, we were talking about this over dinner, and I think really this is, despite the fact that there's not a whole lot of hype circulating around this, mostly because most people that have heard this kind of don't know what the heck this is yet. I would say that this is probably one of the biggest game changers that has happened since streaming became such a huge thing.
I mean, there were a lot of news stories that said it's the first time a U.S. company is getting there being a major player, which is complete bullshit.
Yeah, it's not true.
But it's the first time in this era. I think NBC Universal helped with Astro Boy.
It's already happened this season. Funimation is on the production committee of Dimension W.
There's a lot of hyperbole there, but overall, I think it's probably the biggest hand a U.S. company will have.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the fact that
Netflix does their other originals.
It is a Netflix exclusive.
Yeah.
And it will premiere worldwide in 190 countries simultaneously, which is an insane distribution radius for anything.
I don't want to think about the logistics of that. I'm glad Netflix is doing that for us.
Yeah, I don't want to think about all the contracts that they probably had to write in multiple legal areas. That's probably a nightmare. But yeah, anyway, so that's pretty much the gist of that story. We'll obviously be talking a lot more about it as they kind of update it, but unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of information other than that on it right now. So I would say just keep looking.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely continue to report on that. We're
of course
a little interested in it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Alrighty, next up. So Symphogear had a live event recently where, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm so sorry. You should fix that. For those of you who haven't seen it, Symphogear, there's a lot of music. There's a new single coming out almost every single episode. It's about singing and punching things. So they had a live event, and until then, there was no word of a new season. Well, they decided to make up for that by announcing seasons 4 and 5.
That's a lot of seasons
to announce. The only other show that's done that is TQ, which kind of makes more sense because it's a 2.5-minute long episode show.
Cool.
I'm excited. There's not a ton to talk about here, mostly because, it's Symphogear. It's going to be more of the same. It's going to be more girls punching, singing, more enemies that will eventually turn into friends to fight a bigger enemy that will probably be a friend in the next season. It's good, honest fun. Crunchyroll has at least season 3. I believe they're getting up the previous 2 seasons. If you're looking for a romp that you don't have to think about, check out the first 3 so you're ready for 4 and 5.
It has a decent following in the States too, surprisingly.
Yeah, it's getting bigger.
Yeah.
Big on anti-Twitter.
Yeah. I don't have anything to say about it because I've never seen it.
Mark hasn't been converted yet.
Sure.
If suplexing a space shuttle will convert you, I don't know what will.
It's called being lazy and having a lot of better things to watch.
Ooh,
it's not, because you know how much I've not seen. There is a lot more important things that I still have to watch besides fucking Symphogear. No offense to Symphogear fans, but I have to watch some actually good things before I get to.
It's good because it's dumb.
I'll
give you that.
Yeah.
I'll yield it.
No,
I'll yield that.
You do not have to yield it. It's true.
It's actually.
I've seen an episode. It's true. I've seen the suplexing the space shuttle, and it is dumb. It is also good, but
I'm curious to see how they
good.
top that, because every season opener has topped the previous one. The first one was a simple concert that gets attacked. The second one, I don't even know what. I think it was a bigger concert that also gets attacked, and then they open up in season 3 with suplexing a space shuttle and punching out the middle part of the second highest mountain in the world, K2, to make it the 3rd highest. And then they went on Wikipedia and updated the height rankings.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only way to top that is in season 4, the opening episode is going to have someone suplexing the International Space Station and then punching a hole out of Mount Everest.
I honestly hope so.
I hope so,
That'd be
too.
the most meta thing possible and fantastic.
Or, like, the ISS comes back in the atmosphere and they dredge up the wreckage of Mir out of the Pacific Ocean and then bat it back into the atmosphere.
I could see Hibiki pulling that off.
Someone call whatever
Determination
studio is doing that. I don't know.
This is actually studio, not 8-bit, it's Satellite. Satellite does this.
Okay.
This is their baby after Macross.
Cool.
Alrighty.
So a show called Danmachi is pretty popular here right now.
Yeah.
Also known as "Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?"
Also known as that one show with the girl who had the blue ribbon under her boobs.
Yeah, the titty ribbon was a phenomenon.
There was a picture
in the
going
States.
around of just Hesty on the cover of some like Mexican newspaper because they were talking about her titty ribbon.
Yep, that makes sense.
impressive.
It was a sensation. It was a sensation that clearly extended beyond anime itself, which is a rarity but a welcome sight.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring this up is because it was recently announced that a spin-off light novel series called Sword Oratoria, based on the Loki familia, will be getting an anime adaptation. And it was announced just a couple days ago, actually, on March 6th.
Yeah.
And the original light novels were written by Fujino Omori and illustrated by Kiyotaka Haimura. And they are based on the original character designs, and basically, the characters are all going to be familiar to people that watch the original show. It's Wallen Whatsit and the entire rest of the Loki familia, and it's just
the staff is going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, the storyline is for people that don't know anything about those specific light novels. It's just basically what the Loki familia is doing during the events of the original run of the Danmachi. So it's going to be another 12 or 13 episode series that's just basically telling like a Gaiden side story of.
I know you personally were a big fan of Loki herself.
I was a huge fan of Loki. I was a big fan of all of the deities. I really liked Loki.
I like Ganesh.
I loved Ganesha. He was fucking great. He was the party animal of the group, clearly. Other than Loki, who was constantly drunk, but that's no surprise.
Part of it.
But yeah, I'm very excited to see, because they introduced a lot of really interesting characters from the Loki familia, but it was only 13 episodes, so there's only so far you can go with that. So I'm excited to see those characters fleshed out a little bit, along with hopefully getting a peek inside of Wallenstein's mind, which is a bit of an enigma in the original show.
We didn't get a lot of characterization for her, other than she kind of thought the main character was cute. I don't even remember his name.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God!
Yeah,
why don't I remember his name? Kirito.
Might as well have been. I'm speaking of Kirito. No, I'm
Bell Crano.
There
That's
we go.
What
Yeah,
it was.
Bell. How did I forget that?
I don't know. I just saw it on the thing I'm looking at right now. I feel so bad.
But I'm curious to see if this means that we're going to get a season 2 of the actual show in the future. I think it's a really odd choice to do a side story before a second season. I don't know if maybe the side story sales were lagging and they wanted to give it a little boost.
I don't know, but this factors into this question. It was actually announced very quietly recently that Yen Press will be publishing an English translated version of the Sword Oratoria side story in the United States.
That's awesome.
Starting in October of this year.
Yen Press has brought quite a few light novels. Starting a long time ago. I remember they did the Haruhi novels starting in 2008, I think.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, clearly there's some substance to this side story, and honestly, I am much more interested in this than I probably would have been in the original series had I, known anything about it. But only time will tell
for season 2, just because. Spoiler, stop for the next 10 seconds if you haven't finished Danmachi. They showed that Bell was Zeus's son. Yeah. And that was the cliffhanger at the end. I was pretty curious for season 2. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought it was going to end with buyer books. Yeah. But obviously they have more plans.
I think it's a pretty good assumption that, there is going to be a season 2 at some point, hopefully. I don't want to think that this little side story kind of thing is going to be the make or break for that, but it's very possible. So like I said, only time will tell with whether or not we actually get a season 2, and also whether or not the show is actually good. Who animated the original Danmachi? Was it PA Works?
No, it was A1. I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
I'd be willing
that's
to
who I
bet
was
it's
thinking.
A1. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if
A1.
I don't know if A1 is animating this as well. It doesn't say on this story, but I think that's probably a pretty good assumption.
I'd like to say they have their hands full with the Sword Online projects that were announced earlier or late last year. But knowing A1 and how they operate, it's really just like skeleton executive staff, and then they freelance everyone else.
Do as many things as they want, probably.
Yep.
So that's about it. And also no word of when that's going to be coming, but I would probably assume fall of this year.
Summer, fall.
All right. So, two stories that kind of mesh together here, so it's going to be one subject. Sailor Moon Crystal, the third season, is going to be happening here 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Is that next season?
It's in the spring season. Still working on our preview already.
So they actually a couple of I think probably about a week and a half ago now they released a PV.
I don't think it was that long ago.
Was it really?
I think
maybe it was a
week
ago.
Over the weekend.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was longer ago
I
than
only
that.
know because I was putting together stuff for the preview and there wasn't a PV, and then the next day there was.
Right. Well, there's a PV out, and they've also announced the show's premiere date and theme songs on their official website. The show is going to be premiering April 4th at 11 p.m., which means that we will be getting it simulcast here on Crunchyroll, right?
Yeah.
On April 3rd, I believe. Because
it'll probably be early on the 4th, because 11 a.m. or 11 p.m.?
Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah.
11 p.m., wow.
Yeah, and Daily Savings this weekend. So.
I'm surprised that... Didn't Sailor Moon have like a Saturday morning time slot last time?
Yeah, but this is they were going for the original fans of Sailor Moon, so
looks like that didn't work out.
Well, they didn't get any fans.
Yeah,
so. There's a few Sailor Moon Crystal apologists out there. You know who you are.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to hear from them.
I don't understand you, but you know who you are.
The opening theme is called New Moon ni Aishite. And it is being performed by
the new moon.
Yes,
it's like the imperative form of the. All right.
Yep. Well, it's translated here as "fall in love with the new moon." That's so much fancier. And the singer is called Etsuko Yakushimaru. Wow, that's a name.
That's like the name of like a boat.
She has previously performed the ending theme songs for Space Dandy, so I guess she did "Welcome to the X Dimension," didn't she?
Yeah,
I guess that's her. Space Dandy, Tatami Galaxy, and Ground Control to Psychoelectric Girl. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's Denpo. Yeah.
And she did the openings for. She did an opening for Penguin Drum. So people that have watched those shows, people that have watched those shows will know who she is.
They're kind of bordering on Denpa. You know how a lot of Space Dandy had like the almost like cloudy vocals?
Yeah.
It's like a mix between that and like Denpa.
Yeah. And of course, the ending theme will be sung by the voice actresses for Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune, Junko Minagawa and Sayaka Ohara.
I'm so looking forward to these two.
Right, respectively.
Steal the show.
Yeah. Anyone that has seen the PV knows
kind of gay.
it is. They are definitely playing up. I would say much more than the original series. The relationship between Uranus and Neptune.
It was pretty adaptation of the manga. So.
Yeah. It was pretty heavy in the original series too, but this is
next level.
Clearly next level.
Yeah, this is what is called the Death Busters chapter, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Death Busters. So they changed a lot of the staff, which hopefully is a blessing. I'm not sure if I want to go back and finish the first two seasons because I have read the manga.
I'm not going to.
You're just going to jump right in. Have you
I've
read
seen
the manga?
I've seen up till the Sailor Senshi and in the original show, and I figured that's enough.
That's enough.
I don't need to watch the new show. I know the arcs differ wildly between the first show and this, but I don't really give a shit because I really don't want to watch Crystal again. I want to watch this because of the Outer Senshi, like really bad.
They changed the character designer. That's one of the big staff changes.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, you'll see this is the main visual for the third season, and they look
cool.
Fantastic.
I'm excited.
My only complaint is that the PV had a 100% lack of Sailor Pluto.
Yeah.
And Sailor Pluto is one of the coolest, like,
maybe they're saving
seriously. I hope so, because even looking at her tiny little self on the key visual here. She looks fucking awesome.
She's there. Gotta
so
squint,
I hope she has an even cooler reveal than. Well, it's hard to hope that she has a cooler reveal than Sailor Jupiter because no one in any anime is going to have a cooler reveal than that. But we all can hope and pray.
Updated transformation scenes too.
Yes, that's going to be fantastic.
Tension.
Yeah, I don't want to, but I have high hopes for this because I want nothing more than the Outer Senshi to be the thing that brings the show back together.
Toei can do it. They just gotta believe.
Yeah. Oh man, as soon as you said Toei, I got a little sick.
Took you from here to.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would say expect that probably April 4th morning for Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
If nothing goes wrong.
I remember, I think the previous one had an afternoon time slot because I remember being in LA during Anime Expo when it aired and watching it like 3 in the morning.
That was so long ago too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
2 years ago already, I think.
Yeah. And Crystal's basically been running continuously ever since because Crystal runs twice a month.
Yeah. God,
which is such a weird airing schedule.
And even then they delayed so many episodes.
Yeah, I know. Come on, Toei. You gotta make this good, man.
You gotta do it.
God.
Hopefully, I know they changed the creative staff. Hopefully, they changed the production staff as well.
I don't know.
People who run a tighter ship.
It's just like, it would be cool if this season of Sailor Moon was like Pretty Cure, but like, I have a great feeling, and I also have a very bad feeling because great example. You would think with a property like fucking Dragon Ball, they would like be doing really, really well and like really trying to appease the fans with this new stuff. Especially since like the first 2 arcs of 3 arcs were literally just long rehashings of the 2 movies that have already come out.
Yeah, no.
You would think that the animation would be at least on par with old Dragon Ball, but it fucking wasn't. It was god awful. Yeah. And I know it's there's peaks and valleys because some of it looked fine and some of it looked just like PowerPoint presentation quality bad. So Toei, please, Toei.
We know you're
Toei.
watching.
We know you're watching this. We know someone from Toei is watching this. You and that fucking cat in that stupid ass sombrero or whatever the fuck it's wearing.
I think it is a sombrero.
It's something. It's like a Zorro hat or a Three Musketeers hat.
It's something bad.
I don't care what you do, but this needs to be fucking good.
Make it good.
Yeah, make it. Or like even like just make it all right.
Make it all right.
Don't make it as bad as the first Crystal.
All right.
Because I love that show right up until episode 6, which is the episode right after Sailor Jupiter gets introduced.
Yeah.
And then it's all downhill from there.
I don't even remember how far I made it. It wasn't much farther than that.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Moving right along?
Yeah. Let's get into it.
This one's short. This is an older anime now, I guess. I think
it's not that old. But people are still talking about it.
All right. The type of person who listens to our show, which is people who watch weekly, I would hope.
Yeah.
It's kind of older. It's been a few seasons. It's in the past. Yeah. But Netflix picked up Your Lie in April.
Yeah.
And they dubbed it. And you know what? It's really good.
It's pretty good.
Me, who doesn't have enough time for anything, managed to already get halfway through it just watching it before I go to sleep. It's keeping me awake.
Yeah.
It's good.
I heard the trailer for it, and I was pleasantly surprised, but I guess I shouldn't be pleasantly surprised anymore because Netflix does really good dubs. Their dub of Seven Deadly Sins was great. Their dub of Knights of Sidonia was serviceable. I haven't seen enough of it.
The big surprise was nobody heard about it being on Netflix. Like one of the English voice actors, the not the one for Kosei, but the one for he's a side character that shows up halfway through the other pianist, the male pianist rival. He posts on Reddit pretty often. He's like, this is a complete surprise to me. I had no idea my voice is going to be on Netflix, but hey, go watch it.
Yeah.
That's
I remember
really
someone
cool.
just like posting that on the anime subreddit and just kind of just being like, yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
No one's talking about it. I don't know why.
It came out of nowhere. Yeah.
But good job, Netflix, on that
dub. If you have Netflix, it's completely worth your time. Even if you don't like classical music, even if you don't like good anime, why are you listening? But from a technical point
of view, if you don't like crying, you probably should not watch this show.
It only gets sad at the end.
Let's not think about it.
But I try not to. But what's really cool about this show, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it on our podcast before, but for all the performances, they did motion capture of members of one of Tokyo's many symphonic orchestras, and they didn't rotoscope it. but they use the motion capture to kind of set the animation, so all of it matches completely perfectly. In fact, they use the recordings from the motion capture in the show. So, as far as other classical music anime, as far as other classical music anime are concerned, this is definitely the coolest one in terms of performances.
Yeah, and this is also what, a 12, 13 episode show?
No, this is 20.
Oh, is it 26?
Okay. I think 24,
I thought
25.
it was short. Okay.
This was definitely 2 quarters.
Well, you can watch that in 2 days.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Watch it in one if you hate yourself.
Yeah. I would not suggest doing that.
You
kind of lose the magic when you watch 25 episodes of something in a row.
That's true.
I've done it with Kill la Kill multiple times. It for sure loses its magic.
You need to let it sit for a bit.
Yeah, you need to take 1 or 2 breaks.
Let it pull your heartstrings.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving right along.
Moving along. All right. Speaking of depressing news, we've got 2 depressing connected stories with a hilarious, funny picture to go along with it. So these unfortunately both involve Gintama ending, and it makes me really fucking sad. So the creator of the Gintama manga, Hideaki Sorachi, has reported in his 63rd Gintama volume that unfortunately...
I need to stop. Has anybody made a Hideaki Sorachi joke?
I hope no one ever does. I hope that was the first and last that ever happened.
I'm going to do it.
Nope.
Every episode we mention Gintama.
Listen, man, we got to bring it down.
I'm going to fucking shoehorn
This is some real depressing shit.
I'm trying to lighten it up like Gintama would.
No. If you guys aren't crying yet, prepare yourself. No, I'm just kidding. He announced in his 63rd Gintama volume on Friday that he has just started the manga's final arc this year, and it will either be done by the end of the year or by the beginning of next year, which means that Gintama will be officially done.
It's on its knees. It's about to wash its neck. It's going to be headed by Jump.
Yeah, I mean, he's already said this. He said it at last year's Jump Festa, but he didn't really specify exactly when it would be happening. But apparently, it is just starting now and running in Jump. But it's been going for 12 years.
Yeah, for a gag manga?
Yeah,
what a good run.
It's probably the best gag manga probably ever. Honestly, at least if not the most successful. Because it is, I mean, I can't think of anything that is a 12-year-long running joke that is more successful than Gintama.
Made out of dick and poop jokes,
too. Literally just...
He makes it work. He really does.
Dumb poop and fart jokes. But, yeah, so the television anime, speaking of that, actually premiered in 2006, which means that this year is its 10th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And... another unfortunate fact is that the current Gintama arc is unfortunately the last arc for this current iteration of Gintama.
It comes and goes.
Yeah. So it is ending in March this month. And that will be the end of the current run of Gintama. Mm-hmm. It's been a hell of a run. I mean, it always is a hell of a run, isn't it? But this has been...
This one had a much higher concentration of serious to joke filler, too.
It did. And
Gintama always says it. They pulled it off.
Yeah. The Shogun assassination arc was...
confusing.
I don't want to use hyperbole here, but it definitely changed the universe more than most things that have happened in that show so far have, in the sense that it basically... I haven't seen the past few episodes, so I don't know if everything has just gone back to normal.
Nope.
But it definitely has restructured pretty much the entire way that universe is looked at.
Friends are enemies, enemies are friends.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's been really interesting. I mean, I only started watching Gintama with this current series, so... but I've enjoyed every second of it because it's been absolutely insane. Yeah, it's been completely crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gintama is unfortunately after 12 years coming to a close pretty soon.
I want to know what's next for Sorachi.
I don't know.
There's no telling with this guy.
Yeah, he's kind of a weird dude.
I don't think a lot of long running Jump artists will publish something in a monthly magazine or something like that at the same time once they get used to the workload. I don't think he has. He's too busy antagonizing Shueisha.
Yeah. The cast were actually interviewed about this iteration of the anime ending, and they actually interviewed Tomokazu Sugita, voice of Gintoki, and also Joseph Joestar, young Joseph Joestar.
Thank you for the clarification.
He had to say this: a lot of things are celebrating anniversaries. Congratulations to Zengoku Basara for its 10th anniversary, Cardcaptor Sakura for its 20th anniversary, and the Gintama anime for its 10th. The first step to the 11th year has already begun. What a positive outlook. Daisuke Sakaguchi, who voices Shinpachi, said, "I don't really feel like 10 years have passed. My feelings and mental age haven't really progressed since the first recording session. I'm sure the next 10 years will be the same." And then they also asked the wonderful Rie Kugamiya, who voices Kagura, and she said, "I'm really happy I was able to celebrate the 10th anniversary with everyone here. It's been 10 years I've spent with people I love and all of you, and the roller coaster of emotions that comes from the fraudulent 'the series is ending' announcements. Here's to more Gintama in the future." And I don't know about you guys, but I definitely heard that in her voice, even though it was in English. But yeah, so it's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more anime to go.
We've barely scratched the surface. We have a lot more serious arcs to go.
Yeah, which is good because I really like Gintama's serious arcs.
They're good.
There's something to be said about comedy shows with serious arcs because it's almost as if they're more poignant because you're basically laughing.
With comedy shows, you get so much more attached to the characters. You see Jun Maeda do it all the time with all of his key stuff with Clan Ad, Eric, and he always starts with a bunch of comedy to make you like the characters, and then people die.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. Futurama, The Simpsons, Blackadder.
Oof. Yeah.
They've all have glorious histories, and Gintama is just continuing that tradition.
Yeah. Part of the
Gintama
Blackadder legacy.
In the same league as Blackadder in terms of comedy.
Oh,
someone's gonna shoot me through the camera. All right, let's move on.
All right, next up, Cardcaptor Sakura 20th anniversary. Mark briefly mentioned this before, but the big, super neat, cool thing about this is Clamp has come out and said, "Hey, we're gonna do a little bit more manga."
That's gonna be dope.
Yeah, to call me a fan of the manga is a big understatement. I have all the first run in Japanese. I'm collecting the new print because I think it's Kodansha does it. They're doing a new print for the 20th anniversary. I've got all of it in English. The Dark Horse and Omnibus. I am beside myself with happiness, to say the least. I'm just wondering what they're going to do because they did continue the story with a Tsubasa Chronicle. Obviously, a bit of a time skip there, but I guess they fit this somewhere in between.
I think it would be hilarious if they just aged her in real time, and she's 30 and is like a magical girl still.
Do you know what Tsubasa Chronicle is?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's a time skip that puts together all of the Clamp universes.
Oh God!
So that sort of happened.
That sounds like a fucking mess.
They make it work. It's not terrible. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Japan is basically losing its shit over this, obviously.
It's one of the most popular things ever over there.
NHK's BS Premium, which is a special TV channel of theirs, will rerun the Clocard arc of the original anime in April, starting on April 6th. A book compiling previously published illustrations is shipping on March 24th, and 6 anime cafes all over Japan will host a Cardcaptor Sakura theme starting on April 1st, replacing the Haikyuu theme in... Ikebukuro.
They're pretty much the same show, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, both involve volleyball, right?
There was a volleyball episode, I'm sure.
Hinata's a magical girl of volleyball. Yeah.
Sorry.
My only wonder, obviously. It's on Tumblr somewhere. Someone find the fan art and send it to us because it's definitely a thing. I wouldn't be surprised if there was fan art of Hinata in Sakura's magical girl costume.
If there's not, I'm going to fix that on a commission someone.
Well, I am always excited to hear about anything new from Clamp because they are unbelievably wonderful. Their art style and their style of storytelling is so unique and so beautiful and so it's almost it's almost classical in a lot of ways, in the way that they use color and how they really kind of use the fact that it's 2D art on a 2D medium in a very kind of weird self-referential way. If you've ever seen any of their key visuals that they've done, or just like poster art, it all looks like an Art Nouveau. It's got like a frame around it, or like a floral
you can even
print.
See in this new art they did for the 20th.
It's amazing. So their art is just so unique, and I'm just always so thrilled whenever they announce anything new. But this is like earth shattering.
I can only hope that they get the original cast yet. I know Sakura's voice actress. I forget her last name, but her first name is also Sakura.
Is this?
She still does.
So is this a guarantee that they're going to be animating it as well? Or
I
thought this was a manga announcement.
They'll probably do it.
I mean, I hope they do it.
Everybody's still voice acting.
Who did the original series animated?
Oh God, the studio. No idea. That was 90 something.
Be interesting to see who would get that nowadays. But again, only time will tell. But
it is important to know that it's only like one chapter at Nakayoshi, the magazine that it originally ran in.
Yeah, I hope it gets some form of release over here, because that would be nice.
Pretty big here.
Yeah,
like, everybody knows.
Well, it's a foundation of a lot of kids' childhoods.
Even if it was Cardcaptors here.
Whatever. I mean, it was still, everyone still remembers it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I forget who was it. Sentai just did the Blu-ray release over here about half a year ago.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I definitely bought that, and I've probably watched it twice altogether. Now it's my feel-good show.
Yeah, it's a really, really beloved show, and I really hope that someone does some sort of 20th anniversary release of something over here, because it would be very nice to have. It's always nice to have more Clamp stuff in the States.
Alrighty.
All right. Okay, so moving right along, as this page loads on my phone, thank you, phone. The Tokyo Anime Awards Festival has just announced their Anime of the Year finalists. So this is actually separated into two categories. This is a festival that happens every year, and the basically publishing date range for selection, kind of similar to the way they do it with like the Oscars, the Grammys, and stuff. It's actually from November 1st, 2014 to October 31st, 2015.
Fiscal year almost.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's separated into two sections. You got one for films and then one for television series. So the finalists for films, and it's 4 finalists each. The finalists for films are The Anthem of the Heart, directed by Tatsuyuki Nagai.
I did not get a chance to see that. It was down in Miami because everybody hates Tampa. I just wasn't able to get down there that weekend.
Yeah. The Boy and the Beast, directed by Mamoru Hosoda, which I have heard absolutely nothing but amazing things about. Expelled from Paradise, directed by Seiji Mizushima, written by Gen Urobuchi. And Love Live, the school idol movie, which should surprise absolutely no one, directed by Takehiko Hyogoku. So that's a pretty damn good list.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I would necessarily disagree with any of those selections in terms of films that came out last year.
I've actually heard mixed reviews on Boy and the Beast. Everybody says it's pretty good, but they also say it's by far Hosoda's weakest film. Not that it's bad, but it's his weakest.
So it's his Hateful Eight, if he was Quentin Tarantino.
I haven't seen that yet, but maybe.
I've heard nothing but bad things about Hateful Eight, unfortunately.
I'm sure the soundtrack's good.
Yeah. I saw a lot of good movies last year, and I can't necessarily disagree that any of these should be on this list. The only other movie that I probably would put in consideration would be the Psycho-Pass movie, just because that's probably the most one-to-one recreation of a feature film in anime I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, if you film that shot for shot in real life, it would be like sense. A very big money-making Hollywood blockbuster.
I wonder if it got dock points for
just
being
thought
in
it was
English.
Yeah, like a third of it was in English. It should have really. I mean, it was absolutely abysmal English. The one drawback of that movie. But yeah, no, that's a pretty good list for films. As far as TV anime concerned, we have got Osamatsu-san.
Puzzling.
Absolutely, I have
they
absolutely
really like
no
it
idea.
Over there. It's
yeah, unfortunately,
I guess.
English name is Mr. Osamatsu, which I don't. I mean, that's sure. I just like saying Osamatsu-san more. Your Lie in April, of course. Shirobako, of course. One Punch Man, of course.
Yeah,
all no-brainers.
No-brainers.
Except for Osamatsu-san, I highly disagree with that being on this list.
There's so many things that they could have put in there if we're going back to November of 2014. Maybe they just had to give it the nod because of how well it's selling. I don't.
It's
a fun show, don't get me wrong, but all of those other shows have something special about them, either the direction or it's touching. Osamatsu is,
Osamatsu-san has been all over the place since moment one, and I can't say that past that first episode I've really been entertained once watching any of those episodes.
It definitely has its moments. There's just more non-moments than moments.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't get it because we're not Japanese.
This is the Tokyo Anime Awards.
Yeah.
And a lot of that show is very Japanese-centric. I would say probably most of that show is Japanese-centric. So it is obviously pretty hard for some Americans to understand, including us, I'm sure. And it's a lot of stuff. You have to know a lot about Showa-era comedy, I'm sure, to like truly get that show. But Showa-era comedy is terrible, so I have no interest in that. But yeah, the other three I don't disagree with in the slightest. Yeah. Fantastic list.
I'm so glad Shirobako got the nod.
Yeah, well, I mean, Shirobako is very popular in Japan and has a very decent following in the U.S. as well. So
and yet, it still isn't getting a proper Blu-ray release. I don't get it.
Well, do you know who owns the rights to
Sentai, and they're just doing it on DVD.
Well,
I don't understand.
Yeah,
Sentai's
fucking weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with them. Yeah. Anyway, so
look forward to the announcement of the winners.
Of the winners, yeah, I'll be interested to see that. The only thing I will say about Osamatsu-san being on the list, other than the fact that it very clearly is a very Japanese show, I think especially with the Love Live movie, artistically, I would call into question the idea that it was one of the 4 best movies of that time period. But at the same time, I think they really like to take into account like cultural phenomena. And Love Live and Osamatsu-san are definitely both cultural phenomena in Japan right now.
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah. So, but I would say, a decent 3 out of 4 for both lists, probably.
Even I would have to agree with you on Love Live. The other ones are definitely
more
Love
artistic. Live. It's a fun and very well made movie, Live. But it's a fucking idol movie. Like there's no artistry involved just because it's it's not meant to be. That's not what it's for. It's
CDs and merchandise.
And that's fine. And I think that's probably what they probably said when they were like, "Shit, we're gonna put Love Live on this list." God damn it.
Do you know if there's any other categories? Obviously, these are bad.
Those were the only 2 that Crunchyroll listed. And
I'll have to take.
This is also this is just the anime of the year. There's a lot more categories. I would assume.
I would hope.
But I think they're kind of trickling out the nominations like the Oscars usually does.
Gotcha. I think they end with of the year.
I don't know. This is the first story I've seen about the Tokyo Anime Awards.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, clearly they can't be trusted.
Nothing to given.
All right, let's move on.
Right. Did you bring up news for this one? Because my handy news thing isn't. Can you look up just so we can see numbers?
Sure.
I know Crunchyroll has a story, but Love Live is now officially over. Not really over, but they released their final single, Moment Ring, and it broke just about every Oricon record. I know I have a copy. I should have brought it to the table.
Hold on, I'm looking it up right now.
But as far as releases go,
everybody.
Yeah, that's fine. As far as releases go, it's really cool because if you guys are Love Live fans, you probably recognize those outfits as being from the first single, and just about every lyric references, earlier Love Live stuff, and it's really what's the word? Cathartic, I guess, for everybody to see this final, and it of course ties in with the music that they're doing and the whole theme that they're doing for the finale.
Yeah, Moment Ring, the last single of the 9-member Love Live VA unit Muse, ranks 2nd in its daily single chart, selling 35,099 copies only in one day. It is already very close to the first week's sales number of their previous 6th single, Music Start, with 36,758.
What's the date of that article? I think there's
this is from 7 days ago.
Yeah, I think there's an updated one because I want to say the final number for the first week was something like 82,000. And this is a lot of times idol music is inflated by people selling event tickets and stuff like that. Like if you buy enough of them, you'll get to shake one of the hands or something. Love Live hasn't done that, so these are 82,000 different people owning the CD because there's no reason to own more than one copy.
Yeah. Oh man, Crunchyroll is really over-reporting on this.
It's
newest thing I could find is March 1st.
All right, well, I could swear I remember that 82,000 figure somewhere. That's fine. Not a big deal.
It sold a lot, and it made a lot of money. What a big surprise. It's fucking Love Live.
And it's the last. I'm sad about it. I am really looking forward to Accord. Their new group. You can't just let the whole franchise die. There's,
Super Mario Sunshine. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, it's Love Live Sunshine.
Anime.
But that anime is coming this summer, I believe. But they're getting ready to release their second single, which is, God, something really dumb with the name Aquarium in it.
So is it going to be like
the aquarium.
tropical or island themed Love Live?
They're on one of the southern Japanese islands, and they all their music so far has been like kind of music themed.
That's kind of cool.
Ocean
like
themed.
That.
And I've been watching
basically a Super Mario Sunshine.
You're closer than you thought with that. But I've been watching some of their lives in the morning. Sometimes when I wake up, they'll have three girls from one of the subunits going there. They're really funny. They're
good. Same number of girls?
Yep, 9.
Cool.
3 and 3.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if this ends up kind of.
You'll have to try to latch on to Sunshine as it goes.
Well, I'm going to watch the original Love Live because I can't pull another Cinderella Girls. Because I also still need to watch the original Idolmaster, but I'm a big fan of Cinderella Girls. I like that show a lot. So
out of the 3, that's the weakest.
Yeah, and that's saying something because Cinderella Girls is pretty good.
Pretty damn good.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna watch before Sunshine premieres. I'm going to watch Love Live. That's like basically gonna be my next thing. When is Sunshine set to premiere?
I want to say it's summer.
Okay, cool.
Almost.
That would be
make sense.
absurd if it wasn't summer.
It wouldn't make any sense.
All right, let's move right along here and talk about Leon Kennedy.
Leon.
Who is the voice actress that's obsessed with Leon Kennedy?
That's shit. Not Kobayashi Yu. No, it's Luca's voice actress. I'm brain farting.
Asakawa?
Right. Yeah, Asakawa Yu. Yeah,
there
we go. She's American.
We should have just put a picture of her.
We should have. Oh my god.
With her Dakimakura.
Yeah, she's got a Leon Dakimakura.
Oh man.
I should have done that.
But the reason we are going to be talking about Leon Kennedy is that Capcom this week announced plans to bring Resident Evils 4, 5, and 6 to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One remastered, starting, I believe, March 29th with Resident Evil 6. It's kind of a staggered release schedule. So March 29th, we're getting Resident Evil 6, which, if you guys don't remember, was not the best game, and also really featured
5 either.
Kind of 4 or 5. 5 was the first co-op one, but 6 was the one that featured
everyone.
Campaigns from every single Resident Evil character imaginable, all co-op. And I liked that part of it. I played through some of it. It was
fun playing with a friend. It was kind of painful alone because the AI was not good.
So Resident Evil 5 is going to be coming in the summer. No specific date for that yet. And then Resident Evil 4 is going to come. The one that everyone wants. Actually, I will say I have a defense to say Resident Evil 5 had much better co-op and a much better campaign than 6. I don't think it was as much hype because what game coming after 4 could possibly be loved by anyone? 4 is literally a perfect game. I lost count at
how many times I replayed 4 around 12.
But I have since, I played Resident Evil 5 a little bit and was just like, all right, I don't think I was very much in the mood for a Resident Evil game when I played that, but I have since gone back and replayed some of it, and I think we were all much too harsh on that game.
I think when you're in the shadow of 4.
Yeah, I think being able to play this with some serious online co-op in 1080p, 60 FPS remastered, I think we're going to be looking back at that game and being like, we were probably a little too hard on that. But I will definitely be interested to see Resident Evil 4, which is probably the only game on this list that actually should be remastered, quote unquote.
We spoke about that over dinner. I was just like, why remaster?
I would not be surprised if by remastered for 5 and 6. No, they were on PS3 and Xbox. They never brought them to next generation consoles. They were on 6 was on PC, which might be
maybe that's why I'm getting confused.
It looked a lot better on PC too.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if the remasters of Resident Evil 5 and 6 are just upgraded textures and 1080p and 60 FPS, and that's probably it. Resident Evil 4 is probably going to get a complete overhaul because it was on the fucking GameCube first, and that was it
did get it got released on...
Yeah, it got released on PC, it got released on PS3, it got released on Wii. It's gotten a million different iterations. This is only the, 6 million.
Series.
But they're going to be sold...
PlayStation VR.
Yeah, sure. They're going to be sold.
That is coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll be covering that as well, hopefully. They're going to be digital only, and they're going to be $19.99 a pop. I'm sure they're going to be selling a $60 pack of them at the end of this whole thing. I'm sorry, physical versions are also planned for the Americas. So yeah, but they're $20 each, which is a pretty good price point.
4 and 5. I don't know.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to revisit 6. But who knows? I get pretty bored sometimes.
All made worse decisions.
But yeah, there's a we'll have a link to this story that in the description of both the YouTube video and the podcast itself. That actually has an embedded link to a YouTube video that's just right there on the page. So I would say watch that. You get to see some gameplay of what it looks like on PS4 and stuff like that.
It's 1080p at 60 FPS as well, right?
Yeah.
Right. Sweet.
Yeah. So they're gonna look pretty cool, and I'm excited to play those games again because I like 4 and 5. I just I haven't played them in 4 fucking ever.
Yeah. 4 is every bit as good as it used to be.
Yes.
I can tell you that much.
That is true.
Alrighty.
All right.
I'm having trouble hitting next because just the preview of the next image is pretty.
Let's see it. All right. This is
the most important.
This is the most important story that we have.
Yeah.
So in a recent interview, Ronda Rousey, MMA fighter extraordinaire and all around pretty cool person, said that she would like to star in a live-action Metroid film as Samus. She's described as UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion Ronda Rousey. Has shown her love for Pokemon by training in a Pikachu costume and threw opponents in a shirt emblazoned with her anime husband, Vegeta.
I forgot about that.
Now the Olympian actress and author revealed some of her nerd acting dreams by throwing her hat into the ring to star as Samus in a hypothetical live-action Metroid film. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'd be down as shit for that.
I'd be down to see her do the action parts. I'm not sure if you remember her in Fast and the Furious.
Oh, I do. And I also remember her in The Expendables. And she wasn't great.
No.
But if you remember this, before Metroid Other M, how many words has Samus ever said?
Fair.
0.
That's completely fair.
So she would have to say probably about... She could Mad Max it, do about 10 words. They could fill out the film with
Samus.
Put Charlize Theron in or whatever,
There you go.
have a cool buddy cop thing kind of going on. That would be dope as fuck. But, yeah, I could see her playing Samus.
I can see that. She looks like it right there.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Can you tell the difference?
People, right?
It's basically just 2 pictures right next to each other. They're just the same thing.
There's nothing.
But she's quoted as saying this: "I've always wanted to be Samus. That would be badass." I love how people found out later that it was a hot chick on the inside.
Cool.
And then most of the day you're in a suit, so you can just hang out and eat donuts and be the star of Metroid. I hope they make a movie out of that.
Jesus.
I do too.
That's some pretty solid reasoning.
I love that so much.
If they make this and there's not a special feature of her hanging out in the suit eating donuts, I'm gonna be real upset.
Yeah, like in the Zero suit, like in a director's chair, legs crossed, just munching on a powdered sugar and just getting it all over the fucking suit. Oh my god!
Please,
make this happen. So Nintendo obviously has not announced plans for a Metroid film yet, but the company president Tatsumi Kimishima did say that Nintendo would announce new licensing deals for film and anime later this year.
Wow,
what that means?
Super Mario Brothers movie was pretty good, right?
God. Was that the last Nintendo movie that was made? I think it was.
I think so.
Ooh.
I mean, we always hear bullshit about a Zelda movie.
Yeah.
I feel like if there's one thing they can make work, it would probably be Legend of Zelda.
Well, and they also recently just kind of started easing up on some of their IPs because they announced that they were going to collaborate on a couple new attractions at Universal Studios in Osaka.
Yeah, we even reported that, and I forgot about it.
And that park already has, fucking Attack on Titan, and that's the place with the big Titan that you can lay in its mouth.
Yeah,
it's got all the creepy life-size Evangelion models, figures. I don't know.
I don't know what to call it at that point.
They're terrifying. But anyway, I know I'm not speaking for just myself when I say that Ronda Rousey as Samus would be pretty.
It'd be pretty cool.
Completely outside of either side of the seemingly double-sided circle jerk that's going on the internet right now of either just blatantly hating on Ronda Rousey or still, just jerking off to her, basically. I legitimately think that would be a pretty
cool.
dope movie to watch.
Any more badass blonde woman?
I mean, that I would want to play Samus?
Yeah.
No, and I
Yeah.
can't think of anyone that would probably be more enthusiastic about
Yeah.
playing Samus either,
So
because
that's
it's pretty
like
clear
the
that
point,
she's
about
up on
it.
Samus. Like,
I'm not sure if she's about being Samus or about eating donuts in the suit, though.
I don't care what gets her to do it. I just want her to do it. Like,
Right.
I want them to announce that right now.
We should probably move on, huh?
I don't know. I could talk about this for like another 3 hours.
Oh, we got time, man.
No, let's move on for the sake of our viewers. All right. This is the Kadokawa thing?
Yes. That's
Okay.
Kadokawa
I,
Phoenix. You were a little
I was
confused.
like, is that the dragon? I don't know.
No,
I can't
it's-
see it without the terrible 80s like
You know,
VHS
I was
startup
looking for a
video.
good picture, yeah, of that.
So
We had a soundboard. We do the Kadokawa noise.
yeah, Kadokawa is apparently starting to plan an 88-stop anime pilgrimage tour for foreigners that will focus on areas outside of the typical anime visitation areas
so not
of
Den Town in Osaka, and
Tokyo.
not Akiba in Tokyo.
Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka are not going to be featured on this tour. It's an 88-stop anime pilgrimage around Japan for foreigners in cooperation with local authorities, and it's kind of designed to promote some more rural, out-of-the-way areas that foreigners might not necessarily be prone to going. But it was first announced at March 1st at the Hong Kong Book Fair, and there's not really a whole lot of other information about it. About 50 representatives attended the meeting from 35 localities in 21 different prefectures, including Obihiro in Hokkaido, Niigata, Wakayama Prefecture, and Hyogo Prefecture. Apparently, the number 88 is something that you're going to talk about in a second, likely a reference to the 88 Temple Pilgrimage in Shikoku, which is a
Shikoku.
Buddhist.
I couldn't remember the name of the island, but yeah, there's a famous Buddhist pilgrimage on the southern island of Shikoku where you start on one end and you hit 88 temples, and you get a neat little book that they stamp at every temple, and you feel good at the end.
If they literally just ripped that off completely and did an anime pilgrimage, I would be totally down with doing it.
The thing is, Shikoku is small enough to walk around. Like, that pilgrimage is supposed to take 60 to 90 days. I'm not sure if you can walk this 88 all Japan.
No, there's going to be a lot of Shinkansen trips in this, I would imagine.
I'm going to do it.
But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting how... I mean, Kadokawa is a large company, so they obviously have much more of an ear to the earth with anime's popularity abroad than most of your common.
Always looking for new ways to push their ideas too.
But it is pretty heartening to see such a big company having such a kind of outside view being so prevalent in terms of like, we're literally going to make this entire thing just for foreigners to come in and because they like anime.
I mean, as far as anime tourism, like what we did in Tokyo is concerned, it's really Tokyo.
Yeah.
There's some famous locales like the real life version of Hinamizawa from Higurashi no Nakokoro ni, which is famous because it's pretty. It looks exactly like this crazy town where everybody gets murdered over and over. And then there's the town from Anohana, which is out in the boonies. But other than that, while other anime definitely take place in real cities, people don't really go and see it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if what they're going to do is focus on locales that already exist in anime, or if they're just going to try to like build up anime locales in areas. I think it'd be pretty cool if they did the former, and I would be pretty interested in like a trip that focuses around doing those.
Yeah. And I also wonder if they're also going to take into consideration what anime are actually popular overseas, because they're very different tastes present.
Yeah.
And also foreigners mean literally everyone from outside of Japan. I have no idea what anime are popular in Korea and China and the rest of the Asian countries.
That's
so
very true.
I don't know what they're working with that, but I can tell you right now that if it's doable, I would definitely do it.
If I can get that time off, even if I have to quit my fucking job.
Fantastic.
Be like, all right, sorry guys, I gotta take a 3-month sabbatical. I'm going on a religious journey.
A religious journey for my religion, weeabooism.
Weeabooism.
I'm going on
you can still be my god.
I'm going on a walkabout. Jeez. All right.
I'd be totally down.
All right. Let's keep her rolling.
All right, you are, Ken.
Okay, let's talk about this. This is probably the most unexpected story out of the past couple of weeks. So, depending on how international our audience is right now, you might know this gentleman here. His name is Beat Takeshi. His real name is Takeshi Kitano, but everyone knows him as Beat Takeshi. Like, no one calls him by his actual name.
If you're from Japan or Australia,
if you're from Japan or Australia or the UK or pretty much anywhere that's not the United States, you know him from a show called Takeshi's Castle and a lot of old Japanese gangster movies. If you're from Japan, if you're from the United States, you know him from a amazing television program where he starred as Kenny Blankenship. Alongside his co-host Vic Romano in the Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, otherwise known as MXC, maybe one of the best TV shows that have ever aired.
Like, I wish I could have been a fly in the boardroom.
To this day, I still once a month probably go through YouTube. And by the way, this entire show is on YouTube. Yeah. From start to finish. And I go through and I watch a shit ton of it.
It's always fun.
But
It'll never be boring.
Exactly. But the reason I am bringing this entire thing up is because fans of Ghost in the Shell and just anime in general will know that, unfortunately, they are in Hollywood in the process of making a Ghost in the Shell live-action movie starring Scarlett Johansson as the Major. They have announced a couple of different castings. I know they've cast the Puppet Master, which is the villain from the original Ghost in the Shell movie, and then very confusingly, they've also cast the Laughing Man, which is from a completely different universe, so I don't know how the fuck they're going to do that. And they also never show the Laughing Man's face ever in Standalone Complex, so I also don't know how they're going to do that. But they just announced that Beat Takeshi, of all people, is going to be playing Daisuke Aramaki, the chief of Section 9 from the original manga, anime, and everything.
Beat Takeshi speak English?
He better.
Are they gonna do a voiceover?
I don't know. I would guess with his age and with his prominence overseas, I would say that. I mean, he's definitely one of the more famous Japanese actors internationally. I would say that there's a very good chance that he speaks more than good enough English to be cast in this fucking movie. And also,
I kind of hope he doesn't. I want it to be campy as fuck. Screw
Jesus Christ. But that's the thing, is that Ghost in the Shell was never campy any campy. Part. But I don't want to be intrigued. I don't want to feel anything about this movie, but this casting decision is a little too cognizant for me, and it kind of freaks me out.
Decisions, it feels like a 180.
I will say this, despite the fact that I am wholeheartedly against Scarlett Johansson as the Major, mostly because I think she is wholly unbelievable and also not Asian, I don't hate the Puppet Master. I cannot remember for the life of me who he was, but if you remember from the original movie, the Puppet Master was androgynous, genderless, kind of, and obviously not human. It was a kind of AI construct kind of thing in a prosthetic body. And the guy that they cast to play the Puppet Master is pretty much fits the bill for that. So I can get into that. And he's also been in some good stuff. I just can't remember his name and don't really feel like looking him up on camera. But yeah, Rupert Sanders, the director of Snow White and the Huntsman, is directing it.
I will say this about that movie: really good CG.
Yeah.
I won't say anything else about that movie.
I will say this: the other heartening thing about this is that so originally the script was written by William Wheeler, who wrote Hoax and the Reluctant Fundamentalist. I've never fucking heard of him. Heard of that, yeah. And Jamie Moss, who wrote Street Kings. Also, again, I don't know. But the original script has been reworked by the writer of Straight Outta Compton, Jonathan Herman.
I never got around to seeing that.
It was really good. And was very well written.
I thought Dre wrote the script. I'm sorry. That was bad.
He was just the one that you never forget about.
So I mentioned him.
But yeah, no, I pretty much universally hated this movie until I heard about Jonathan Herman and then now about Beat Takeshi. Like, I don't know what to think. I think at the absolute best, we can expect a highly confusing mess that probably will look okay. And I think at worst, it's going to be Aeon Flux.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Or do my best not to
Ultraviolet or any of the horrible mid-2000s Mila Jovovich / Charlize Theron vehicles. I don't know. I want to hope that everyone coming into this knows the insane legacy that they're inheriting, but I have a lot of doubts, as does pretty much anyone that's a ghost.
Is there like a timetable for this? Do we know?
2017.
2017.
Yeah, I don't think they have a. Yeah, I don't think they have a. I think principal filming is either already begun or begins in the summer. So I don't know where they're filming, but if I hear they're filming in Hong Kong, my interest will be piqued again. I don't think. Yeah, I wouldn't get my hopes up either, but it's probably going to be a lot of soundstage work and a lot of green screen. But yeah, Beat Takeshi is Aramaki.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
I'm excited, but also I have my doubts about whether or not Beat Takeshi should be Aramaki. Like, just from a casting perspective, like Beat Takeshi is
in your perfect cast. Who would Aramaki be?
I'm sure I've done this before.
I know you have. That's why I'm asking.
I think. Well, it depends. Are we going like full on whitewash like Hollywood would do, or are we?
Let's give us two. Full on whitewash.
All right. If it was full on whitewash, I think someone like Bryan Cranston could play a very good Daisuke Aramaki.
I would totally be down for that.
If it was, depending on what era, because if we're doing like more of an Arise kind of thing where everyone's a lot younger and Aramaki doesn't have gray hair yet, I think someone like Ken Watanabe would be a really good, like younger Aramaki, especially. All right. He's an older dude now, so I think he's like in his mid 50s, so I think that's about the age that he was in Arise. So, and Hollywood makeup is a very wonderful thing, and Ken Watanabe speaks English and Japanese. So I have already said that if you're going to cast a white woman as the major, it has to be Katie Sackhoff from Riddick, and she was a Cylon in Battlestar Galactica. She's real tough, and she's big and scary and muscular and everything that
kind of what you need to be the major.
The major, should be. And while I do, I have come around on my opinion of Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, and I do like her in that role. I just can't. I cannot see her as the major. This is gonna sound really weird. She's a little too robotic, and that's rude. Saying something.
Rude. That's pretty funny.
It's true. It's true. Sorry, Scarlett.
You're definitely the bigger Gits fan out of the two of us.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't have a lot in this.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it.
I'm obviously going to watch it. Yeah.
It's gonna be one of those movies that I'm probably gonna want to drink before watching.
Kinda ease the pain. You'll drink before it. I will drink after it. Probably.
that's a really good way to put it.
Whew. I might have to go out in the middle and go to the bar. Just drown myself.
All right, round two.
But yeah, I was pretty skeptical of this, but now I'm healthily skeptical and also pretty intrigued at the same time, because it's
gonna be a thing.
It's definitely not a typical casting, that's for sure.
No.
All right, let's move on.
This one's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so the Japanese government is actually planning to relax visa restrictions on foreign animators and designers. Specifically regarding the Council on National Strategic Special Zones, chaired by Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, of course.
That's like our H-1B or something.
I don't fucking know. I have no idea about. The Japanese government is so unbelievably complicated.
I don't get how it works.
Don't want to try to pick that apart. But they met on Wednesday to discuss said bill. That would pretty significantly relax visa restrictions for foreigners working in what is called Japan's special economic zones as animators, designers, and cosmetics professionals, which doesn't seem very related to the first two, but okay. Previously, they placed pretty strict regulations on foreigners working in those areas, which is why you hardly ever see any foreign animators working on anime.
You see like a Spanish name or something like that show up, which is interesting.
Animation, fashion, and cooking is a pretty restricted area apparently over there. Some foreign graduates of Japanese vocational schools with job offers from Japanese companies have been denied visas that would allow them to stay in the country.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah, but this proposal will specifically ease regulations for foreign animators, designers, and cosmetics professionals who wish to work for a Japanese company after graduating from a Japanese school or class. So you have to go to school in Japan first. So sorry, Flash animators, you can't just go.
What that tells me, I think, is this is probably more for Chinese and Korean animators than anything.
Yeah, I would say that's
probably... We're going to have a lot
of
Americans going to Japan to complete their dream of becoming an anime artist working for like 20 cents a page.
Yeah, unless you're very, very fluent in Japanese, I doubt that you'd be able to survive at a Japanese school.
It has happened. There's a couple of them. And
I
think most of them, though, are in more higher up roles. I could be wrong. Obviously, we don't hear a lot about in-betweeners or even key animators. I could be wrong, but I think most of them are like set design or mech design or something like that. Already not impossible, but I wonder how much easier. Are they just like increasing the amount of visas? Or?
I think they're just decreasing, or like they're relaxing the like standards that you have to meet. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is actually going to be presented at the Current Ordinary Diet session, which will run through June 1st. So I'm assuming it's either already been presented or but it's actually part of a larger revision of Japanese National Strategic Special Zone Act. Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of a pet project of Abe, basically. He wants to bring in more foreigners to work, especially, I'm assuming, because of Japanese population decrease problem. Yeah. It's been pretty bad over the past 2 years.
Ain't getting better either.
Yeah. But the special economic zones are actually regions where regulations on certain industries, such as healthcare and agriculture, are reformed in order to promote economic growth. I'm assuming pretty much all of Tokyo Prefecture is one of those zones, which is interesting how they structure that geographically, because I mean we have sort of a similar thing with our difference in regulations between states, but obviously states don't have any say in visa restrictions.
No,
so this is kind of an interesting new thing, but this is actually somewhat related to the Cool Japan program, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. It's all part of this kind of push by Abe to try to make Japan more attractive to foreigners.
They don't exactly have the best reputation as a place a foreigner would want to live and work.
No, and they definitely they're Japan's place as an international novelty is kind of, it gets old after a while.
Yeah.
And especially in America, where pretty much everyone's opinion of Japan, if you don't know anything about Japan, is what a weird place,
tentacles.
Tentacle
yeah, see?
Tentacle porn and weird commercials and bad music.
It's all those things do exist there.
Of course.
Not all of it.
Yeah. But most of it. But that specific program revolves around the premise that Japan's strength in business and international affairs lies in anime, manga, films, fashion, and other fields of Japanese arts and entertainment content, which is certainly true, I would say. Japan is a a technological innovation center, and it is also a center of international finance. Export, but Japan's biggest export is culture, for sure.
Absolutely.
Japanese culture is so internationally famous and infamous in a lot of different ways that it makes sense that that's what they would be focusing on, and rightfully so, because Japanese culture is so goddamn interesting that the rest of the world really deserves to be kind of exposed to it.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Well, that's why we're here doing our part, right?
Yes, exactly. Doing our very important part.
This is a good segue to our next one, which is somebody who's not doing their part. This makes me so mad.
Let's talk about it. So give us the backstory.
Long story short, this on the screen, if you can't see it, is...
we already have some people just grinding their teeth because they know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So this is a Mega House, right?
Yes.
Mega House figure Angewomon from Digimon, and it has been barred from sale in the United States because the United States rights holders for Digimon decided that it is not the proper image they want to present, the proper family-friendly, just because she has a little bit of TNA.
Yeah.
Granted, there is a lot of TNA, but in the show, it was exactly the same. She gets in a cat fight with Devilwoman and pull hair and cat scratches, and I just...
It's in these kind of situations that I always try to see things from a very business point of view, because there are a lot of things especially when it comes to not necessarily anime, but gaming in the U.S., that are they provoke a very vitriolic and most of the time very overreacting kind of reaction. And it's mostly because the people that see fit to criticize these things don't really understand the business side of these things.
My business point of view is you're going to make more money if you decide to sell something versus not sell something.
A lot of times a business decision is going to be very different than, a decision that a fan or something would make. And this is not one of those times.
No, this is a bad decision.
Because, unfortunately, what is the name of this company? Do you know? The people that own Digimon in the States?
Everything I've said has said the American rights holders.
No,
I don't know if it's like some shadow parent group or...
It's probably some holdings company or something dumb left over from like the anime bubble crashing
fucking
and
Gold
all
Harmony.
that shit.
God damn it. Harmony Gold, sorry.
But, yeah, no... They've made it. I think they have kind of not really taken into account how vitriolic the internet can be about these kind of decisions, because now more people know about this figure and its existence than would have ever known if they had just said nothing and let it be released. Because honestly, the majority of anime fans in the United States don't follow figures. They don't collect figures. They don't care about this kind of shit.
This figure line isn't for children. If it was like an action figure and she had massive hulking tits, then all right, I can still almost see it. But this is a regular PVC, I think 1/8 scale figure. And
honestly, most of the people that they are parents basically, they're worried that would have been offended by this sort of thing. Not a factor at all. No. Parents don't know about this kind of thing. The kids would have never ever been exposed to this kind of thing. It's so far removed. The sale of this kind of figure in the United States is so far removed from anything that could ever like have a kid accidentally see it in any context related to Digimon, that it's almost laughable that they would see fit to try to like control the market like this. The only thing that this is going to cause people to do is just spend a lot of their money overseas importing it.
That's exactly what I did. I was on the fence about buying this figure. I saw this and I was like,
yeah, you should.
All right, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. So it's a frustrating decision. I mean, I can see it from a very like 50-year-old middle-aged white man who knows nothing about anything being like, oh well, we can't have that. That's going to offend people. But fuck that shit. Like, that's a dumb reason, and it's also like
completely the height of like Digimon's resurgence.
Completely false. And yeah, like
it's so aggravating.
I don't want to talk shit about. This is not me talking shit about Digimon. If they were to have released this figure in the States at the height of Digimon frenzy, then I would have probably considered this an okay decision, or at least an understandable decision. Yeah. But Digimon hasn't been relevant in like 10 fucking years, and like literally no one would have given a shit about this figure's release if they hadn't said anything. But now, guess what? A ton of people give a shit about it, including us. And
now we're getting more people to care about it.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's the idea.
Yeah, no, it's just a disappointing decision, and it's frustrating when you can so clearly tell that a decision was made by people that really have absolutely no intrinsic knowledge of this side of things and are just acting on. They're playing it safe, basically, but they're punishing people. That's
such a nice, pretty figure.
They're punishing people that.
That's a nice fucking figure.
They're also punishing people that are completely not related to them in any way.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm sure, why they feel they can get away with it, but it just makes their decision all the more shitty.
I think one of the worst parts of this to me is they did it pretty late in the game. I think this is a June figure release, which it seems it's only March now, but this has been up for pre-order for at least 6 months before this.
Yeah.
And people have already given their money. I know Crunchyroll had to do refunds. Pretty much every U.S.-based retailer, if you aren't getting it shipped from Japan, had to refund money.
And that's, that doesn't create a good relationship with businesses either. Yeah. It's just, it's shooting yourself in the foot in a lot of ways. I can't pretend to know, I don't know the ins and outs of that particular side of this industry, but I've
never heard of anything like this happening.
Yeah, I'm pretty damn familiar with how action figures are licensed and released in the U.S., and yeah, this is a pretty unprecedented thing. I'm sure it's happened before in some context with some sort of merchandise.
I hope not after people have paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people had already given money for this, and they decided, no, you're going to have to, all you companies are going to have to give that money back, and you guys aren't going to get what you want, because we think that some people might be offended, which is fucking dumb.
It's such a pretty figure too.
It's a really
I wonder maybe the angel motif
cowardly. It's a really cowardly reaction.
I think if maybe the angel motif had something to do with it.
I
hope
think
not. I'd probably be more offended.
I think it's her giant tits that probably had a good amount to do with it.
Probably the ass too.
Yeah.
That Kyrie's looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's probably a lot to do with that, and not a whole lot to do with anything else.
I don't know. Maybe it's an old angry. Maybe Chick-fil-A owns the rights to Digimon. Were they the last ones to do the toys?
I don't know, but knowing how some properties end up in the hands of like weird insurance companies and shit, like Macross, I wouldn't be surprised if
So, long story short, boycott Chick-fil-A until this figure can be released.
Tweet at Chick-fil-A and demand that they allow the release of this figure.
I'm laughing.
Tell them Ono Anime sent you.
I had to make a bad joke because it aggravates me so much.
Oh God. Well, speaking of aggravation, let's go on to our last story.
Let's get even more angry.
Whew. Well, do you want to take this one, or you want me to take it?
You can do it because you have the data in front of you.
Okay. So I believe it was. Let me see. This is from January 27th, so this is almost 2 weeks ago now. Funimation, a American anime distributor.
Sure, you can call them that.
And many other things, recently announced their intent to release Vision of Escaflowne, the original series, on Blu-ray and DVD in the United States in the near future.
Good.
Now, in keeping with kind of a newer tradition of re-releasing old anime, they decided that there was a possibility of doing a new dub. Because the old dub was kind of incomplete. They had kind of censored some certain things, taken out some dialogue, and that didn't sync up with the new uncensored, longer versions of the TV episodes that they had. So they said, okay, we might do a new dub. But, Funimation, being the multi-million-dollar company it is, decided to put it up on Kickstarter. And the campaign had a goal of $150,000, and as of now, it's been met. It has succeeded.
This is aggravating for a number of reasons.
So this was not for the release. This was to include a new original dub with the release. They're going to release it no matter what. It's just whether or not people wanted a dub. Now, I could read a whole lot more out of this, but that's basically all you guys need to know.
What Mark just put down was the way they announced it was an Anime News Network interview. Right?
Yeah. So this is kind of part of a trend, a really disturbing trend recently that was kind of put out there by when they announced Shenmue 3 at E3 last year and put up a Kickstarter for it, even though it was being published by Sony Computer Entertainment America, and $3 million of their money was going towards that game. A lot of bigger companies now are basically using Kickstarter as a test bed to judge the popularity of something before they decide whether or not to actually release it. Now, you would say, no, that probably makes sense. Well, until you think about the fact that these are companies that have a shitload of money. In terms of anime distribution companies in the United States,
Funimation absolutely has the most capital. It's not even
Funimation kills on capital like twice, 3 times their next biggest competitor. And they are more diversified in the market than anyone else. And they are the last people that should be putting up a $150,000 Kickstarter begging people for money just because they want to know whether or not it's popular enough to do.
It gets worse. I know that doesn't sound possible, but it gets worse. In the interview, they said, well, most Kickstarters, they break down what the money's going to be used for. Can you tell us like how much of that will go to actors fees? And they were just like,
no.
Actually, no, we can't tell you what the money's going to be used for.
Now, I don't know if you guys have ever been on Kickstarter, but that's kind of a thing on Kickstarter.
That's what you do. There's a pie chart.
Every single time that I have ever given money to a Kickstarter, it has been because I can look on the Kickstarter page and see a complete rundown of everything that my money will be going to. Now, they have obviously tiers, of course, so they're going to tell you what sort of content you're going to get for how much money you're spending, which is usually just the DVD or whatever. But they aren't telling you where that money is going.
Nope.
They aren't telling you how it's being used.
Nope.
And unfortunately, yet again, it seems to be that they have gotten away with something that is very Funimation-esque. And by that, I mean it's really fucking shitty.
Yeah.
It's really shitty and cloak and dagger and underhanded and corporate
they try to paint it so good. They're just like, well, you know, they came like one sentence short of saying, we knew it was going to sell. But they said, you know, we'd been planning for this for a while, and we thought this was a good way to let the fans vote if they wanted a new dub or if they wanted the old one.
And what that means is we wanted to find out whether or not we could fuck people over for their money, even more than we already are, by saying, hey, look, nostalgia, you guys want a new English dub for this thing? Well, then give us money.
That we already have.
And now, I understand the draw probably for corporations, even though a giant corporation being on Kickstarter is just a complete joke and should not be happening, and I don't understand why Kickstarter allows it to happen. But there's a very simple way to solve this problem if you're Funimation that does not involve taking money from people before you know whether or not you're actually going to do it.
Go to Twitter and make a poll. Do you guys want a new dub?
Yeah, or put a poll up on your fucking website that like millions of people go to every single day.
Made it a really cool marketing thing. They could have turned this into some sort of marketing
without taking people's money before they know the quality of the fucking product.
Yeah.
Because this is essentially like it's essentially a pre-order. But it's instead of a pre-order, it's people giving
the amount of money
plus.
Too, I'm pretty sure you needed to pay like $50 to get the new dub.
Yeah, and it's just.
And it worked.
Of course it worked. Yeah, they probably got more money than they asked for too.
I'm sure they did.
Because
they'll probably hit some shitty stretch goals. Oh look, now our fucking CEO can get a double-decker yacht instead of a single one. That's a fucking stretch goal.
So it's just one more thing. I mean, if you've listened to this podcast since the beginning, you've known that we've reported on a lot of shit like this. I'm willing to give them stuff when they do something right, which is rarely, but this is just like a new low for them because now that this has fucking worked, they're gonna do it with fucking everything. Yeah. So if you're watching this right now and you're wondering whether or not you should ever give money to Funimation for anything that's not an official release that's already out, no. Don't do it.
If you want to give money to a Kickstarter, I can guarantee you there are much better ones right now. There's one for the old Gainax otaku thing. There is always good visual novel ones coming out.
Yep.
There are so many better things to give your money to.
There are plenty of independent anime Kickstarters directly from Japan, from creators that are respected and well loved, that are wanting to take their stuff off the grid and actually take money directly from the fans in order to provide something. You don't need to be giving money to a corporation basically taking complete advantage of a very up until like probably 2 or 3 years ago, a very pure and honest form of direct consumer producer interaction that has basically been hijacked by big companies like Funimation to try to further their goals while also making as much fucking money off of us as they possibly can. And unfortunately, I'm sure a lot of people gave a lot more than $50 to that individually.
Sure. I don't know what their biggest stretch goal is, but I'm sure they use up all the slots for it.
Only because, Funimation's kind of shitty behavior thrives so much on ignorance and the, kind of apathy of the industry as a whole, and because it's still such a fledgling thing here, the way it is now.
They did get a lot of kickback for this one. I did notice.
I'm glad they did, but it obviously
was not enough.
Was not enough. So Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing. It's kind of sickening, and the worst part about it is it's not at all surprising.
No.
Funimation has pretty much always been notorious for being the kind of pariah of the industry in terms of like hardcore fans and also like people within the industry that don't work for them and haven't swallowed their Kool-Aid. Pretty much universally shit talk them.
The people who work for them aren't especially fond.
Some of them, some of them are. Some of them are very indoctrinated, especially the people that host all of their online shows.
Yeah.
Double
talk.
Yeah, and isn't it so kind of poetic that show's name is so close to doublespeak?
I never put that together. That's
yeah,
pretty good.
They are basically the fucking Big Brother of the anime industry.
God.
Just shitting all over the proles. Yeah, so don't support Funimation and their shitty shit. I'm not going to tell you to not buy any of their exclusives because they do have good exclusive releases that I frequently
do good releases.
A lot of which that I own, but don't support
Don't go out of your way to support.
Don't support their shitty practices by giving them money when they don't fucking need it. When they could very easily be not taking people's money and finding out exactly what they're purporting to find out, which is complete bullshit. They're not trying to find that stuff out. They're trying to make a lot of money. They were going. That dub was going to be made no matter fucking what. It's just, it's asinine.
They're assholes.
So because nothing has stopped them from. I mean, Escaflowne is a massively popular series and very well loved, especially when it comes to 90s anime.
That's a perfectly good dub.
Well,
they did say in the interview that some scenes aren't going to match up.
Yeah,
they do a new dub.
I would rather them. The thing is though, I would rather them make a new dub. How many series? How many series a year do they dub? Hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably now.
A ton of ones that probably shouldn't have a dub.
Yeah.
As we so rudely found out at their AX panel last year that we were like, why the fuck are they releasing all these in English?
Defrag. As much as I love
Nobunagan, something that literally no one is going to watch.
I think I saw the first episode. And that's because I was flipping channels in Japan.
But the idea that they would not produce a new dub if they knew people wanted it, which they did because it's fucking Escaflowne. Mm-hmm. It's something that people remember very fondly and is popular. It's it's the same sort of situation I'm sure Viz Media went through when they were going to redub Sailor Moon, but they didn't fucking put up a Kickstarter for it because they're Viz Media and not pieces of shit.
They're a good company. Deserve your money.
Yeah. Well, sorry anyone that works for Funimation that's not a piece of shit, but I mean,
We're sure you're out there.
Well, and also
you're probably answering emails. It's okay. It gets better.
You know which company you're working for. Anyway, so
we're gonna try something to close this out. Let's see if I can go back to the. That worked a lot better than I thought it would.
Yeah, it did. All right. So, any last words before I kill you?
Uh-oh. Yeah. No. Oh no. Was that me getting a text?
No, that was me getting a text.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, this is an absolutely new format for us. We want to continue doing things like this. Do video when it's feasible for us. Hopefully we'll be put together early enough ahead of time to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
If you guys have any comments, criticism, things we could do better. If you want to help me make a cooler PowerPoint. I'm all ears.
We are on social media at yeah, I know. I just heard someone say that the other day. It's
gross.
Poisonous. We're on social media, facebook.com/OnoAnime. Twitter is
OnoAnime.
At OnoAnime if you want to include that. And OnoAnime@gmail.com. That would be our preferred mode of communication if you want to send us anything or want us to talk about anything or
even dick pics.
Want to even comment on something that we talked about in this episode or send us a dick pic. We'll proudly put it up on episode and break YouTube's terms of service.
Yeah. And that'll be the end of OnoAnime. You've done it.
We talked about this last episode, but we got the date wrong, and I recorded a thing before the episode explaining it, but now that we're kind of here, we should talk about that. But yeah, no, we are going to be watching the finale of Erased, or Bokudake Gai Naimachi, on March 24th. That's a Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our YouTube channel, YouTube Live. That link will be in the description of both I mean, you'll be on YouTube seeing it, so it won't be on that, but it will be in the description for the podcast on the RSS feed. And should we talk about the other thing that we're doing in the summer yet, or should we save that?
In the summer? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, okay, most of our listeners are from Florida.
Yeah.
So
I guess we should say it now. We will be hosting our first ever panel at MetroCon in, I think it's
early
June.
No, it's like July.
Is it? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's late July because it's after.
I don't have the dates in front of me, but basically, is the Friday of MetroCon?
I don't remember what day it was, but we are
Friday at 8 p.m.
We are doing a bootleg merch thing where we give out bootleg merch. No, I'm kidding.
No.
We tell you it would be easy enough at Metro. Yeah. Hey, look, this is bootleg. Have it.
We bought this on the floor just now.
Now there's both of us being collectors. I mean, if we were to move the camera, you could see all the crazy figurines I have. If you watched other videos we've done, you've seen stuff. We're both big collectors of memorabilia because we like to support the shows that we like.
Yes.
And it's an unfortunate theme, especially in Florida cons, where more often than not, the things you're buying at conventions are bootlegs. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say more often than not when it comes to figures specifically, but there is definitely a very big problem with bootleg figures, including entire booths selling nothing but bootleg figures. But it can be hard to tell the difference.
Pretty much all merchandise is going to be bootlegs. You know, Dakimakuras, T-shirts,
I don't think I've
prints.
ever seen a legit Daki in a Florida con.
No, it's pretty much all bootlegs. So
we're doing a panel on how to tell if your shit's real or not.
Yeah, and I believe it is the Friday at 8 p.m. But if you go on MetroCon's panel schedule, you'll see us up there.
Yeah.
It's just called Ono Animes. Is your merch a fake? And then something like that. Yeah, we'll have more detailed information both in the description and then also the next episode.
We're working on a second panel as well. Hopefully it'll clear. If not, look forward to that at a later. Yeah,
if it's not at MetroCon, it will be at another one of these summer Florida conventions. So just keep an eye out and an ear out here, and we'll be talking about, all that kind of stuff. I completely forgot the password to your phone. There we go. I
almost said it out loud.
Nope, it's all right. You shouldn't say that out loud. Anyway, you got anything else to say?
That'll be it.
All right. Well, then I will say thank you very much for watching and listening and bearing with us through this kind of new experiment, I guess. And have we completely abandoned our catchphrase? Or are we going to say
no more fucking Blitzendagen.
All right. Well,
especially not over this song.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you soon.